All right, how y'all doing? Welcome to the channel. So in our Active Everyday series, we're gonna break down easy ideas to get into daily activity or daily exercise routines that last between, let's say, 5 minutes and 15 minutes. I don't know exactly if it'll be longer than 15 minutes, probably never shorter than 5 minutes, with a lot of ideas kind of hedging it around that 10-minute mark, but not a lot of commitment. Because again, this is more beginner idea, more daily routine. Of course, if you're sort of like intermediate in your fitness level or just looking for really just a way to break up your workday, for instance, this could be an awesome addition to that as well. But really, this is a good target for baseline activity introduction for people that are trying to get into a fitness routine. So this could be really good for someone who's a bit older, or someone who's really out of shape, or someone who is maybe overweight and they're starting to get into weight loss routines, or even somebody who has a combination of all three of those things, maybe even injuries, coming back from injury or coming back from pain, or have something that limits them from exercise, like back pain or something like that. So yeah, a broad sense of beginner exercise. So today I just want to lead off with something I briefly touched on in a previous video, which is just using a squat pattern to bring some accountability to your daily fitness routine. And look, a squat is important because we do it all the time. We do it when we sit down and stand up on a chair, on the toilet, on the couch. It happens all the time. And so whether we think about it or not, we are exercising just by going through our day. So activities of daily living, but it's the lack of strain or stress that's needed to create health and wellness changes in our typical lifestyle of activities in daily living. Most of us don't have labor jobs, and most of us have a quite reduced version of an active lifestyle to and from the car, maybe some light yard work, but it's not year round, that it's not laborious. And so we need to find this daily patterning of light to moderate activity or exercise to create a small amount of stress on our body that can create some healthy changes, whether it's cardiovascular change or muscle hypertrophy, building some muscle, maintaining some strength, maybe balance or coordination. We'll touch on all these topics. So rant over a squat, pretty simple. And so the way we'll set our squat up today, which I think is a really great way for most of us to do these, especially if we are intro and beginner. So we're just going to use a bench. And another thing I want to add is it's really nice that we don't need a gym space, although I'm in a gym space here. We don't need a gym space to do much of what I'm going to try to teach you, or practically everything. We can either be in our house or we could be outside. We could be in a park somewhere, or just in our yard or in our house. So if I sit down, there we are, and I stand back up, I've effectively done a squat. And I sit down for the dinner table, I stand back up, I've done a squat. So if I do that 10 times in a row, for most people, it's not going to be the hardest task, and it's not going to be unaccomplishable. Notice I've just really talked about sitting down and standing up, and I've called that a squat. I haven't really applied any specific ideas and techniques to the squat, and I'm talking, so I'm losing count. I think that's 9 or 10. Stick with me. We're shooting for about 10. So I'm gonna go ahead and do one more. But I haven't talked about form. Why? Because, we stand from seated positions all the time, and we don't injure ourselves. So if we start there as a foundation, just do what's normal for you, do what's common. We're doing something that we already aren't getting injured at. That may really help you progress in your exercise world. It may relieve a little bit of stress or anxiety around, I might get injured, I don't want to injure myself, so let me slow down, or I don't know where to begin. Okay, let's get into a second set. If you're watching this video, join in, okay? This is here for you. There's one. Okay, here's two. Again, I'm going to shoot for about 10 reps, and I'm going to keep talking along the way, so you can just kind of move at my pace if you're squatting with me. So Squat form. Well, we want to keep our feet flat, generally. And we'll talk about different examples where maybe we prop our feet up, like we put something underneath of our heels. Okay. So I don't mean necessarily flat on the ground, I just mean in complete contact, whether our foot's on a bit of an angle or flat. Okay. About shoulder width apart, they could be slightly wider or slightly closer. But you should search for what feels comfortable and natural for your hips. I think you got about 1 or 2 more reps. Excellent. So that would be 2 sets of, I think, 10 reps. Yeah, so squat width, about shoulder width apart, is a good place to start. It's got to feel okay for the hips. If you haven't exercised much, you may feel tight or stretching, may not feel great, so it may take you a few sets, a few days of trying this to figure out kind of what you like. But you got to develop your own stance. But general rules of thumb will kind of apply to you. Feet flat, about shoulder width apart. When I sit down, I want to sit down with control. So I do want to try to slow it down near the bottom. Okay, I don't want to just drop down and kind of bounce. Okay, that's not just for safety, but that's also for strength building. We want to apply the ability to decelerate. Okay, again, shooting for about 10 reps on these sets. So feet flat, about shoulder width apart, control at the bottom. One more maybe. I'm shooting for 10, but I'm talking, so it could be 9 or 11. Okay, feet flat, about shoulder width apart, control the way down. I'm gonna turn sideways for my next one as I talk about the next thing you can consider when you squat. Okay, this will be our 4th set. Okay, we're trying to go for 10 reps. If you're getting a little tired and you need a rest, sit this one out. Jump in with our next set. So, set 4. Let's get 10 reps. So, also, our posture. In general, we want to remain upright. Now, that doesn't mean perfectly straight up and down the whole time I squat. There's some room here to be a little bit forward or a little more upright. It depends on how flexible we are. It depends on how strong we are and how much we have an awareness of our body to make an adjustment. Depends on if we add load and hold things and our hands are up here in the front or behind our back. When we change the dynamic of the squat, that may change our posture. So general rule of thumb is generally upright. I think I got about 1 or 2 more reps. I'll do 1 more rep that would be not ideal. And you can see I'm really downward. So just generally upright when we squat. So that's 4 sets of, let's say, 10 reps. Okay. And so we've been exercising for, give or take, I talked for about 1.5 minutes at the start of the video. So yeah, we're exercising now for the 8.5 minute mark, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. We're gonna try to do 10 sets. So if you stick around for the full duration, that'll be 100 squats. Let's go to set number 5. You'll notice I'm taking a fair amount of rest between my sets of 10. Again, if this is a beginner workout for you, we want to make things achievable, and we don't want to set hard lines for standards just yet, but rather start to understand some goals for ourselves. It's important to understand what's a little challenging, what's really challenging, and it's important to understand what's easy and what's really easy. So a good rule of thumb as well that you're seeing applied to this workout today: take your time. Do some reps, take a rest. I think that's about 10. Do some reps, take about a minute or 2 of rest. You don't have to use a timer. Just take your time. If you're out of breath, wait till you catch your breath. Slow your breathing down a little bit. Focus on your squat when you're squatting, and focus on relaxing and breathing when you're in your rest period. If this is too easy for you, how could you make it harder? Take a little bit less rest between sets. Do 12 or 15 reps in each set. If it's too hard, how do you make it easier? Rest longer between sets. Do fewer reps in each set. We're looking for about 100 reps today. Maybe it's 80 reps or 60 reps for you as you start, or 120 or 140 reps. Okay, let's go for set 6. Count these out with you. Here's 2. And I am sitting all the way down right now. Here's 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. Here's 6. Here's 7. Here's 8. Here's 9. Here's 10. Okay, that is 6 sets. 4 to go. 4 reps to go. Will just this little amount of exercise impact you enough for there to be value in doing something like this? Absolutely. But it doesn't come from just one event, from one isolated workout. It comes from repetitive workouts, consecutive workouts, chronic workouts, something every day or most days. Active lifestyle. We're trying to bring activity to our lifestyle, how we live. Set 7. Okay? So whether it's just even getting outside for, a 10-minute walk or a 20-minute walk. Really, these things we're talking about together today are minimums to get you going. But more is better. And for a lot of us, if we are inactive, I think that's about 7 sets. If we're inactive or really deconditioned, not in good shape, maybe we consider ourselves active. We do go for walks and things like that. We find small challenges that keep us going each day, but we're looking for that next step up. We really do want to introduce some strength work. This is a really great way to begin. Again, it goes back to that, figuring out what's easy, really easy, hard, really hard. It gives you perspective so you can set your goals off of how these types of workouts feel. 8, 9, 10, 3 sets to go. Let's try it out. Okay, there's 1. And, because this doesn't take a long time, how does it fit into our day? Let's kind of talk about who we are. Are we a parent with a job and a couple of kids? We've got a lot of things we need to manage. Or are we just a single, non-married bachelorette who works a lot of hours trying to make their way in their day? And there's so many types of people. Are we retired in our 70s and, just find that we're not doing much in our day in regards to movement? We've all got different perspectives that we're coming to this active everyday mindset and approach. So it's going to be a little bit easier, a little bit different for each person, but some times that are easy to consider, at least for me when I'm helping people plan their day, where can something like this fit in? Well, it's not a big chunk of time, so it's often easy to find time for ourselves at night before we take our shower, around that time, before we go to sleep, which for some this may be a little stimulating. It might make it feel like it's harder to go to sleep. But if you do it before a shower in the early evening, and you take that shower and you relax, it could be a good time. Okay? Set number 9. Could be through the workday. This is relatively low-level activity for most, even deconditioned. We'll talk about how to scale this to make it a little easier, a little harder. But it doesn't take long. You're probably not going to get really sweaty. You don't really need to put on specific exercise clothes for this. You could do this in jeans, right? We sit down on the couch and at the dinner table all the time in our regular clothes. We could fit this in during a lunch break. I believe that's about 10. Let's rest for a moment. We'll do our 10th and final set. You know, some of us have a schedule that's fixed 8 hours a day. I have a lunch break 30 minutes in the middle of my day. You know, I might get 2 10 or 15-minute breaks, you know, in the morning and in the evening to cut that 8-hour work day up in between my lunch breaks. You could take 3 to 5 minutes during each of those 2 breaks and become a bit more active in your day instead of taking a big chunk out of your lunchtime. I know that time to rest and relax is quite precious away from work, so thinking about different ways to plug it into our day. This is set 10. That's going to bring us to 100 if you're tracking with me today. First thing in the morning can be very challenging initially to get motivated to do as a habitual part of your day, but early in the day gets it out of the way. We increase our circulation. It's a great time to become stimulated. Wake up the body, wake up the day. We could do it before we hit a coffee, all right? That may change how we use and regulate caffeine in our life. We may need less caffeine if we're getting that early morning stimulation. I'm gonna take one more. That might have been 10, but I'll take 101 if it is. So morning, midday, night. It's 5 to 15 minutes today. Running time on the clock, 16:40. We talked for about a minute and a half, maybe close to 2 minutes before we started, so we're falling right into that window of time we've been targeting. So I hope you find this helpful. I hope you can use some of these ideas for yourself. When it comes down to it, we have to be a bit creative. We have to find our way to learn for ourselves what works the best for us. And hopefully along the way, we can find some practitioners out there in the world, like videos like this that we can learn from. I'm doing it myself. Hopefully you can learn from me. And somebody will learn from you someday, whether it's a family member or a friend or a coworker. We can all be advocates along the way to help people in our network be a bit healthier as well. So have a great day, active every day. See you soon.